Hi, I'm Clayton Clemens with Senior Marketing Specialist, and as a cancer survivor myself, I wanted to gather some of my friends here who had gone through this journey just like I did and sit down with them, talk about their story a little bit, and get a chance to celebrate them this month. I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma when I was 26, right before my 27th birthday. Um, Obviously, very shocking news because I was 26, and the type of cancer I had typically doesn't get found until somebody's 60, 80 years old, somewhere around there. At the time, I was just working a manual labor job. My back started hurting, so I thought nothing of it because I was lugging big tanks around for a water company. Turns out that when they did the MRI, they wanted to take a second one because they ended up finding the top part of my tumor in one of the MRIs. So they came back, did another one, and then ended up sending me to the oncologist that day. Obviously, that was probably one of the harder days that we had during the entire experience because that was the day I had to break the news. But a lot of travel, a lot of great doctors, got me all taken care of, and I am 5 years out. Clean bill of health. So very excited about that. And something that really stuck with me was my nurse, Julie, who I love. Mwah, love you, Julie. When she called me with my diagnosis, she let me know that I had the multiple myeloma. The other option was a type of cancer called the sarcoma, which, if anyone knows anything about those two cancers, sarcoma comes with a lot heavier of a diagnosis, a lot more risk involved. And where mine was, it was a strong concern if I'd get to walk again. So, very excited when she called me and told me I had multiple myeloma. And she said, "This is the weirdest phone call I've ever had." Never called somebody and they celebrated the fact that they had a type of cancer for sure. But I counted myself blessed that day. I know a lot of people had it way worse off than I did. And I was just ready to go, ready to start fighting. And here we are 5 years later. So I just want to shout out to everybody out there that is going through that fight to keep fighting, keep going.
My name is Lauren Tauber. I'm with SMS, and I am kind of a cancer survivor. So last year, I got some results back that were a bit concerning, but not exactly a cancer diagnosis. But it's been something that we had been watching for a long time because pretty much everyone in my family has had some form of cancer. It's kind of a rite of passage. So with that in mind, I've kept cancer insurance for pretty much my entire adult life, just kind of waiting for that to happen. And then finally it did last year. So we did a lot of testing and a lot of biopsies and finally came to the educated decision that in order to prevent me from having to go through a cancer diagnosis, we would get in front of it and do some surgeries to remove things that were problematic. Definitely would not have been able to get through that without the phenomenal insurance, the phenomenal facilities and nurses and doctors, and then more so than ever with the amazing support from SMS as a single mom, not knowing how I was going to take a week off every month for 6 months and then a month off at the end of all of that for the major surgeries was probably the most concerning part of everything. And to know not only did I have the insurance to make sure that my income wasn't affected, but I had a nice cozy spot back at my desk whenever everything was ready to go. Director even told me I wasn't allowed to come back in office for about 6 weeks so that I could take as much time as I needed. So that type of support, there's really no check you could write or anything you could do to replace that level of support, and I am forever thankful. So I guess the big takeaway of that is if you know that you have a family history of cancer, if you know that you have other family histories that are going to require extra testing and to keep a watchful eye, I strongly support you do so. You never know the day or the hour, so you might as well be prepared for everything.
Hi, my name is Kim Kaufman, and I am the Operations Director at JK Financial and Life and Annuity Specialist at Senior Benefits Services, and we are celebrating Cancer Awareness Month. I am a survivor of colorectal cancer. I was diagnosed in November of 2019. I was one of the lucky ones because I had symptoms, which led me to advocate for getting a colonoscopy to see what was going on. Colorectal cancer is one of the top 5 cancers that are frequently diagnosed and often is referred to as the silent killer because many patients are do not have any warning signs until its later stage. So I was one of the lucky ones and had, as I mentioned, warning signs in an early stage. So after radiation and chemo and some surgery, I am happy to report that I have been cancer-free, and I just celebrated my 3-year scans on June 16th of this year. I would like to take a few minutes to talk about early detection. Recently, the American Cancer Association changed the guidelines. It used to be 50-year-old for baseline testing, and they have decreased that to age 45. That looks like if you're low or no risk, you can have a non-invasive procedure called Cologuard, which actually comes through the mail, and you take a test and then you send it back for results. Or you can have a colonoscopy, and they start what's called a baseline, and if everything's clear, then they recommend every 10 years after that. If you are at higher risk and have some family history, they recommend every 3 to 5 years. So it's super important to have those baseline colonoscopies done. Most insurance companies will pay for it at 45, or if you're experiencing symptoms, they will cover it at a much younger age. I've had 3 friends under the age of 50 since I was diagnosed, and I've been in treatment with many patients that were in their 20s and 30s. So it's never too young to start thinking about it, talking to your friends about it, and encouraging. I'm your gal if you want me to go with you to get tested. In addition to awareness and getting tested, I work in an industry where I'm talking about life insurance and cancer policies and long-term care insurance on a daily basis. We're always talking to clients who many years ago we used to think that you had to be a certain age to look at those policies and check the premiums out, and we are writing clients at a much younger age now. I was 49 when I was diagnosed, and although I had life insurance, I didn't think I was old enough for cancer insurance or long-term care insurance. And so now I find myself in the waiting game to see if I'm insurable. Most insurance companies have at least a 5-year waiting period after most types of cancers. Some you are not insurable in the future. So I encourage you to find your local agent and take a look at those policies. Especially if you're younger, you're going to be very pleasantly surprised how affordable the premiums are, and so happy that you made that choice in the future.
Hey, this is Colby Lehman. I'm an executive sales director over at Senior Benefit Services, and I'm a cancer survivor. So last year I got diagnosed with skin cancer on my face. Didn't think you could make this mean mug any meaner, but sure it did. And I'll tell you what, it was terrifying. It was a huge burden on me, on my family, super emotional, had to take time off of work, and you just had a lot of questions. And I'll tell you, through all of that, the things that I'm most grateful for is definitely the support system. But I couldn't have done it without having the right insurance. I mean that. Whenever I was in there talking to the doctors and asking how this is all going to work and how it's going to be covered, I got to relax knowing that from a financial point of view, everything would be okay. Now, of course, that helps that I'm an insurance broker and I've been writing health insurance for the last 12 years, so I knew how to write the right policies for myself. And I'll just tell you, I'm so grateful that I did. I'm so grateful that I had cancer insurance and I had really good major medical insurance and I had good doctors. And I'll tell you, coming away from that, it reminded me the importance of my career. It reminded me of how powerful sitting down with somebody and educating them on the biggest risks associated to humanity and our health can be covered. So I really hope this makes a difference to some people. I know cancer is a scary, scary word. Luckily, we are more equipped as a society to fight against it than ever before. So thank you.
Hello, I am Krysta Classens, and I am a breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed when I was in my first trimester with our second daughter. I'm very lucky through self-detection. I found a spot that I was curious about and brought it up to my OB, and she was very quick thinking and didn't chalk it up to just being like hormonal or something with being pregnant. So that was a Tuesday. I was getting a biopsy and an ultrasound on Wednesday. I got the phone call on Thursday confirming what the faces of the doctor had already said on Wednesday, and by Friday I was meeting with the oncologist. I guess one of the positives is a pregnancy and a cancer diagnosis puts you up to the top of the priority list. So they were very quick in getting me and my baby treated. And yeah, it was a whirlwind from there. But all I can say is that the amount of support from all of the doctors, the nurses, your community, your family, work, I don't think that you can have such a successful outcome without the love and support of everybody around you. And being where we are located here in mid-Missouri, how lucky we are to have such great health care very close to us, I think is just another blessing. So I was very lucky, caught it very early. I say that my daughter actually saved my life because the type of breast cancer that I had was actually fed by hormones, and so getting pregnant kind of kick-started that. So we found it early, got it detected early, and got it removed pretty easy. Just a couple rounds of chemo. We'll wink at that when I say it was an easy treatment. But the fun fact was that they said that going through chemo while I was pregnant was actually safer for me and my baby than to go into a multiple hour surgery. So we went down that path. And again, it was the amazing nurses and the doctors and just the love and the care and the support from everybody that gets through those tough days, the chemo days, the days thereafter. But you got something to work towards, and very thankful that the chemo was successful for me. I did opt to go ahead and get the genetic testing for the BRCA gene, and I just think that it's amazing that we have that opportunity. So I highly recommend everyone getting tested for that if that's something that you're interested with, or if your family history maybe nudges you towards wanting to know a little bit more. So makes it a lot better for you, your chances of survival. So as a cancer survivor this month, we're celebrating every single day, and hopefully this was educational for someone. And if anybody ever has any questions, or if there's someone that I could be of help to talk to, you know where to find us.